What's going on, everyone? This is Cadman Cycling. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're in Watopia for our race. This is the 3R Volcano Flat Reverse Race. It's 3 laps around the Volcano Flat, so we start in downtown Watopia. It's a relatively flat race because we go around the volcano and not up it. 3 laps for a total of 22.7 miles, 36.6 kilometers. And again, not a whole lot of climbing, especially for the distance. It is a mixed category race, so I'm racing in category C, but we'll see riders in this race from all categories. And for that exact reason, I actually kind of sprinted out of the starting gates, starting pen a little bit faster than I usually do, hoping that I can kind of stick with the front C's or even the lower group of B's to use the full effect of drafting. I've kind of learned in some of my previous mixed category races the importance of using the groups in front of you to draft off of, albeit not for the full race, as most likely you're in the category that you're in my case C, because that's where you belong in terms of your skill level and ability to keep your watts up throughout the race. But it can give you a quick advantage over other riders in your category. Again, it is a bit of a controversial strategy. I've been on the winning and losing end of it, but I decided to kind of give it a go here at the start, see if I could find myself in a group of Bs and start to gain some ground on the other Cat C riders I'm racing against. So this is a very large race, 136 riders across all categories. And the right-hand side, I'm kind of looking at the categories of the other riders around me. There were a few other C's I see with the same strategy, but majorly I find myself with a lot of the B Cat riders here. Kind of have a 2-second gap on some riders behind, but I went out hard. We're not even a mile into this race and my heart rate's up to 180 almost. And this is a decently long race, especially for me, used to the crits and the shorter races. I kind of realized a race like this is more my weakness than my strength. And that's exactly why I decided to try it today. Definitely something I want to work in going towards the off season is these longer races and try to build out my strengths, both on the bike, but within Zwift racing as well. I guess they go hand in hand. So anyway, I find myself kind of in the middle of groups here. I wasn't able to jump on with that larger B group in front of me. There's some C riders behind that are starting to catch. It's a larger group here, so kind of just starting to form the group. I think ultimately my strategy didn't really work out at the start. I didn't really jump on any group of Bs that I kind of was able to stay with for any amount of time to build a gap on the riders behind me. Just ended up kind of burning a match very early on in the race. Just a mile in, still over 20 miles to go. So burned a match, my heart rate's up, but ultimately kind of ended up in the same group. I could have started a lot slower rather than sprinting out of the pen just to jump on the riders that I did. So in any case, kind of found the group here, 1.5 miles in. It's all about now just getting in some kind of rhythm. It's a pretty flat race, so not a whole lot of climbs. There's a few risers we'll see later on, but really just want to stick in the middle of this group. Keep the watts somewhere around 200 if possible. We'll see how that works out depending on the pace of the race. And just stick with this group as long as I can. And again, in a longer race, unlike at Crit City, as we will in a short period of time kind of jump forward, but in a longer race, it is possible for groups to kind of catch groups in front of them, be caught by groups behind them. Usually in Crit City, once you see a split, that split kind of stays. But with these longer races, there is more room for kind of pack dynamics. So as I said, we went ahead and skipped forward, still on the first lap, now 5.5 miles in. And there's a bit of an alarming, I would say, stat right here in the top left corner. Again, 5.5 miles in, still the first lap. My heart rate's at 188. This is generally where I see it. Getting close to my max heart rate, kind of usually on the last few laps of a race. We're still in lap 1. Definitely concerning. I'm still with the same group of riders. Again, I haven't been putting out a crazy amount of effort. It's been around 200, at some points 220 watts just to stick with this group. But my heart rate's really high, and my legs don't feel awful, but they don't feel great. I found myself kind of like slingshotting back and forth a little bit between the middle of the group, falling off the back, putting in an effort to try to get back on. But in turn, my heart rate would jump pretty high, and here we're all the way up to 190. Definitely concerning, to the point that, again, we're not going up the volcano climb, but there is a little bit of a riser here, kind of as we're going around the volcano. Trying to be careful not to fall off the back. I've done it a few times and kind of had to put in an effort to get back on. But this time, the heart rate just isn't feeling great as we're going up this hill. And I actually kind of lose the group here. Again, it had happened once, maybe twice before in this race where I just put in the watts to jump back on. But I just couldn't do it this time, knowing still 17 miles left in the race. My heart rate was around 190, and it just didn't feel like my day. Kind of my head was in a different space. Legs again felt all right, but heart felt like it was beating out of my chest. Just didn't have the energy. The body was hurting. Almost for a second kind of felt like nauseous a little bit. Not like I was going to pass out, but like it hurt to keep turning the pedals over. So I decided to kind of sit back for a little bit. And this is where I get into how Zwift is a humbling experience. I think it's appropriate that I actually won my last race on Zwift. It was my first overall Zwift win. And then this race was the exact opposite. I jumped all the way to the very end. I got dropped. There were quite a few groups and riders throughout the next 18, 19 miles that kind of passed through. I tried to jump on when I could, but ultimately just did not have it. Again, Zwift is a humbling experience. My body was not feeling great today. It ended up being probably my worst watts per kg race. So kind of interesting. I mean, Zwift in any sport comes with its ups and downs. I experienced that up last week. And then this was definitely a down race. But again, it's a learning experience, and that's exactly why I show you guys all my races. I don't want to show you just the ones that I do better in, because that's kind of the experience that we all go through. We have our good days, we have our bad days, but we're all here on Zwift just trying to become better cyclists, trying to stay in shape. We're all at different levels, but it's all just a big community trying to grow and really build our endurance, stay in shape. So I was able to stick with it, to be honest. I wasn't sure at the start if I was going to make it to the end. I took it pretty slow, kind of found a group at the end, but ultimately did finish, and I was proud of myself for that. On a bad day, sometimes it's just about finishing, not exactly what place you get. So this was a bit of a quick one today. Again, Zwift is humbling. You'll win some and then you'll lose some. But as long as you finish and try your best, I think that's what Zwift is all about. So thanks, guys, for hanging in there. Thanks for watching. I can't wait to see you on the next one. This is Cadman Cycling. Bye.